Welcome back to the second segment of the September 2nd Trips and Traps. Andy Serling with Eric Donovan.
3 more races to bring you, including the Travers Stakes, but we'll start off with the first race of the day on the Travers card, and this is first race today in allowance, and we're taking a look at COCALERO here, who, if you were on track, you know that this horse stumbled badly at the start. Tom Durkin said it, and look at that. I mean, just scraping her face on the dirt for 2 or 3 strides down there, just unbelievable. And Alan Garcia was even able to stay on.
Yeah, they did come back. It had been over 2 months. I think this horse ran, or roughly 2 months, and to come back and have this out, it doesn't matter when you came back from, but this was just a disaster. And frankly, this horse finishing 4th is an absolute miracle here for a couple of reasons. One, because of what we just showed you and how far the horse dropped back despite that. And this horse could have been eased at that point. But also, this was an interesting race to show because it set the table for the whole day, where there was a lot of talk about it, and it's worth talking about. Inside speed, at least in the dirt sprints, because the only route was the Travers, we'll show you next. Inside speed was dominant in these races, and you saw it from the first race.
Indeed, you have the 2 horses that are up front here, Litigation Risk, and you got to have Soul. They're 1-2 in the early stages here, and these are long shots in the race, 10-1, 15-1, and they don't set a blazing pace in here, but still you're expecting some other horses in here, such as Aspire, who
his career is over. He can't. I don't know why he didn't go the lead in this race, because he was one of the few horses that looked like he could have speed in here. Yet for some reason they made no attempt for the lead, but he can't run anymore.
He can't. Apparently not. Maximus Ruler actually was the one that went off the favorite in here off a long layoff, and he doesn't do much running either. And we'll see COCALERO get back on the screen here momentarily. There he is in the blue silks and toward the back there, and have a little bit of trouble back there. Yeah, he's going to come and split between horses here and finish up pretty well. And all things considered, the bad stumble at the break, the way the track was playing, and relatively slow pace in this race, COCALERO really runs great.
Yeah, it would. You'd love to be in an alternate universe and see how this race would have played out if COCALERO hadn't stumbled. Judging the way the track had been playing, he wouldn't have won. Judging the way he ran, would have been very interesting in there. It felt sort of bad about Maximus Ruler in here. His connection shipped him all the way from Kentucky for this race. Hadn't run since, I think, the Risen Star, the LeCompte, maybe the LeCompte down at New Orleans and Fairgrounds. The horse had run so well in there. Look at a very interesting Triple Crown horse. He didn't run well at all, but he did chase on the outside. So it'll be interesting to see when he comes back. The problem is they're going to have to bring him back at Belmont unless they want to run him on synth. And this doesn't look like a synth horse. So I hope that they ship him and leave him at Belmont and give him another chance. I hope he's okay because he was a promising horse.
All right, we'll get on to the big race of the meet, the Travers, and we're going to look at obviously the top 2 horses in here, the 7, AFLEET Express, the 8, Fly Down, and also First Dude, who sets the pace in here along with Miners Reserve.
Yeah, we just thought it was sort of worth talking about the race and walking through it a little bit. And I'll tell you something. We talked a lot in the course of the weekend and after the weekend about the very fast pace that Rachel Alexander was involved in and how it did her in. Well, really not enough mention was made about how fast this pace was because, frankly, the variance looked very similar for these 2 days, and this was a faster pace, 23-2, 47-1. Miners Reserve, who's on the lead in this race, he unfortunately exited this race with an injury. Hopefully he'll be okay down the road, but it just absolutely cooked the horses that were involved in the pace, and frankly, First Dude, who was outside the lead, and yeah, he got beat a package in here in finishing 3rd, but he ran a lot better than a heck of a lot of other horses.
Yeah, and I thought also if you can make a case that a Little Warm, friend or foe, up close to that quick pace, being hung out wide around the first turn there. Maybe they didn't run so poorly either, but the way the race sets up here, it's setting up perfectly for a horse to come from a little bit off the pace, mid-pack, or even a little bit farther back here, and we still see Miners Reserve and First Dude going at it. First Dude's a horse you got to give a lot of credit to. He's running 6 grade 1s in a row now. He fights hard every time. He's been in the money the last 5 times. Just a victim of the way these races are run, and it's unfortunate, but eventually one day he'll find the right spot and win a grade 1.
He's a very good horse. He needs to find a race he can win. I saw the connections talk about running on the grass. Let me just mention, AFLEET Express is much closer to the fast pace than Fly Down. Now, it's not like he's right on the pace, but he is a bit closer. So the fact that he got this superb ride and trip from Javier Castellano, you could mitigate a little bit by how much closer he was to the pace. But all in all, Fly Down circling the field here. You see him just coming in the picture and giving up such a ground difference. Now, he had a great trip in the dynamics of the race. And sometimes 1-turn, 2-turn races, biases don't hold the same way for 2-turn races. Unfortunately, it was only a 2-turn race, so we didn't get to test that one out. But dynamics of this race, these horses had the best setups, obviously, and it was an inch to the wire.
It was, and you see the difference there. Javier Castellano saving all the ground, coming up the rail, Fly Down about 5 wide, turning for home in here, and AFLEET Express is going to split horses there with Castellano, come on through, and Colorado's Reserve here go on to take the lead and have to hold off a surging fly down here. Now late in the stretch here, fly down's on the wrong lead. I'm wondering maybe if he switches over to the correct lead, that maybe he runs down AFLEET Express in here. But two very nice 3-year-olds that I think have a bright future in front of them.
Oh yeah, they're really nice horses. This race got a 105 buyer, but it was a race that was set up very much by dynamics, and would be remiss to have discussed Rachel's race and not discuss this one. And I think you're right about A Little Warm and Friend or Foe. I'm not saying they ran great races, but they didn't run as poorly as it may look at first glance. And the horses that ran 1-2, they ran well, but they did have circumstance in their favor.
All right, one more race to take a look at, and we'll look at the 6th race from Monday, the 2 Avenging Spirit and the 4 Inspired. Hooked up down the backstretch here, and a little bit of traffic trouble, I guess you could say, for Avenging Spirit.
Well, yeah, it's traffic trouble, but we're going to come out flat and say it. You're going to show you the head-on of this race. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure of a couple things about what Kent DeSormo was doing here. First of all, Inspired, and this isn't some sort of bitterness because we had actually done this horse on Trips and Traps. I don't think anybody expected her, a filly-facing Colts, to be dueling it out in a 21 flat quarter, but she also keeps Johnny Velasquez and Avenging Spirit in more than a little bit tight, and we're going to show you the head-on, so you'll see exactly what we mean. Hey, I like good race riding, and you're not supposed to be just giving everybody whatever they want. But Avenging Spirit breaks inside of her, has the speed, and it's almost like she's getting shut off and cut off. You could see it right there with poor Johnny on this gray horse. You're getting eliminated. The horse who finishes second in this race, Sunrise Smarty, makes the early move and runs very well. The winner's a first-time starter that comes from the clouds.
Yeah, the first-time starter for a 4-year-old gelding, first-time starter from Graham Ocean Bar.
3.5.
The hair. 3.5, yeah. It's South American.
Australia,
actually. I'm sorry, so Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
But, we'll take a look at the head-on later to show you what you mean. But, Inspired was a horse that had some trouble getting out of the gate first time out, was, kind of rank steadied behind horses, and just amazed that she was able to go up and vie for these fast fractions here. Just don't know what the plan was coming out of the gate here, and we'll take a look at the head-on, and you'll see it. It's looking like Kent DeSormo and Inspired, just want to keep Avenging Spirit in very tight the whole way.
Yeah, and Avenging Spirit is a horse that first time as a gelding in this race, and a horse with a storied checkered career where there was a lot of hype about this horse. He just can't seem to get it together, but maybe getting back in the dirt. But judging by the way this race run, you see DeSormo. I mean, what is he doing? He's putting him in tight. Johnny has that position. This is not denying somebody position that they shouldn't be able to get. He has the position, yet he's being cut off virtually the first 3.5, 4 furlongs of this entire race, and has to compromise the horse's chances. No, he doesn't finish it up, but who knows what would happen if this race was run differently. It's a very fast pace in here. Even though Sunrise Smarty survives it, it's still a quick pace. Inspire doesn't survive it at all, so you have to almost wonder what was the point. Avenging Spirit, we'll see where he goes from here, but certainly not a fair trip for him.
No, definitely not a horse that really had to be steadied for the first, like you said, 3.5 for 4 furlongs of the race, and that's going to take its toll on any horse when you're just have a handful like that, in a dangerous spot too.
It was a difficult situation for sure. We'll see where they show up in their next starts. These horses will run differently. Once again, love hearing your thoughts, trips, and traps at NYRINC.com. Hope you've enjoyed Saratoga. We will see you when we get back to Belmont.